All right, all right, all right. Happy day, everybody. Hope everybody's doing wonderful. You're having a wonderful day. I expect you to have a great week. It's your last full week here at school. It doesn't include your exam week, and we're going to end with some fun here, talking about our topic here, feudalism and the manor system. So let's have a good time with this. I know this is a tad different. Usually I'm recording myself on the computer. This is on a video camera, so it's a little different. Let's enjoy it and see how it works. Everybody have your paper out, something to write on. Remember to keep this paper. You have stuff on the back and the front. We're on the side that has fewer questions on. So make sure you have this side going right here. All right, first thing, put your name on your paper. Your name and the title. You see the title right here? Feudalism and the Manor System. So write that down pronto. Those are the two big topics, feudalism and the Manor System. All right, here we go. Let's get into this just a little bit. All right, so we'll have different topics of discussion. Now this is our second slide. Look at your second question here. It says, what picture is there on the second slide? What do you see? You see a castle, a big old giant castle. Now if you go to Europe today, there's castles, I'm talking like all over the place, big old beautiful castles. This obviously is not a real castle, it's just a little cartoon castle. You ought to go and research some of the castles over there. There's some amazing ones. Yes, there really are. Go do a PowerPoint on it. The castles of medieval Europe. That would be amazing. Check it out. Okay, so takes us to our second thing here. Now there will be different topics of discussion in this. I'm gonna let them all out real quick, let you see all of them, and I'll say a little something about each one. Yes, so first thing is, was feudalism necessary? We're going to find out if this new political system, if it was actually necessary in Europe. And we're going to find that it possibly was, because things were just bad with all the Vikings, the Magyars, the Muslims coming into Europe and just causing turmoil left and right, and north and south. Anyway, so here we go. So what's the relationship between lords and vassals? Yes, these are two important vocabulary words for you. Lords and vassals. They're generic terms. They can apply to anybody. A king can be a lord, a noble can be a lord, a knight can be a lord, a serf or a peasant could be a vassal, but a knight could be a vassal, a lord could be a vassal. You're going to see what that's all about. So these are interchangeable words with other words. Anyways, we'll talk about more about that. All right, talk about the knight, how you became a knight, what do they do, the importance of knights, their job, really the big thing. All right, we're talking about the manor. This is a piece of land. We're talking about the manor and the workers on the manor, and to see, really what they did each day. And then we'll talk about the feudal contract. We'll see how there's a contract between the lords and the vassals. This is what makes feudal society work for a while. All right, and then last thing you need to do is you may be able to make sure you can construct the feudal pyramid of power. So on your paper, make sure you write down two of these, so I know you paid attention. Write down two of those, two topics of discussion. Okay, first thing is this: was feudalism necessary? And I'm going to make an argument that it was necessary. So write down that question, was feudalism necessary? I'm going to make an argument that it was necessary. So what's happening is you have all these different tribes that are coming into these, or tribe maybe is not the right word, but all these different groups of people, the Magyars, the Vikings, and the Muslims coming from the south, and they're just causing turmoil all over the place. And this broken down Roman Empire, which is really not really an empire anymore, it's broken down, and the people are just getting raided all the time. And what they needed to stop these Vikings and Magyars and all this, they needed a system of protection. All right? And what feudalism is going to provide is protection on a local level. And think of it this way. Think of it, imagine if every little city in Alabama, Athens, Florence, every little city had their own little armies that protected the people there. Instead of relying on a big old giant army from way far away, they could rely on that group that's close to them. So was it necessary? Yes, because they needed protection. All right, here we go. The relationship between lords and vassals. So here we go. So the relationship between lords and vassals made feudalism work. That's important. What makes feudalism work is the relationship there. So here on your sheet, you should start filling in some of these blanks. So the relationship between lords and vassals, all right, made feudalism work. So if the lords do their job, that's what you're going to see here, and the vassals do their job, we'll talk about those in a second, feudalism will work. All right, let's keep it going, keep it going. All right, so vassals had certain duties to perform for the lords. Okay, so the vassals had things to do. These are the people that are below. These are lower down the ladder, the vassals, but they still had a job to do. Most of the time their job is to just grow food, make sure everybody had food to eat. All right, so vassals had certain duties to perform for the Lord. Okay, let's keep it going. Now, all nobles were ultimately vassals of the king. So what you're going to have here, you'll see this in a minute. You'll have the king at the top, and you'll have the nobles below him, knights that are kind of in the pyramid somewhere, and then you'll have serfs and peasants, and they all have a job to do. And if everybody does their job, the whole entire area is going to be good, because everybody will have food to eat, being provided by those on the bottom. You'll have protection that's provided by those that are at the top. All right, here we go. Here we go. So, what is a knight? Let's find out what a knight is. All right, what is a knight? We're at question number 5. Yes, okay. So, almost all nobles were knights. So, what you basically have is the king at the very top, and he will take all of his land, he breaks up his land, and he's going to give it to nobles. All right, and then nobles, they would turn around and sometimes become knights, because so they can protect their king from at time to time. So nobles would become knights. All right, so how do you become a knight? Training would begin at the age of 7. This reminds me of the Spartans when they started training their children at such young ages. All right, training began at age 7, and you would call this person a page, as a page. All right, under the guidance of the lady of the manor. So this page, what they're typically doing is they're learning how to be kind, chivalrous. They're learning how to function inside of the house and to kind of take orders. Yeah, so this is what's going to happen at the beginning of the knight's training. All right, so after a while, after about 8 years, you have these pages that will become squires at the age of 15. And then they'll be trained by other knights. This is when the men step into these boys' lives. At the age of 15, they're still young. They're still just boys. The men come in and they train these pages or these squires into becoming knights. Now, not all of them will become knights. It'll only be those that are deemed or dubbed worthy of being knights. So just because they became a certain age doesn't mean they're ready to become a man, to become a knight. All right, just because you're of a certain age doesn't mean you're ready to take a leadership role. All right, so they're going to make sure they find those that have done everything they need to do and respected what they should do and honor what they should do and make them into knights. So there you go. All right. Now, let's look at the manor. Now, the manor, what you need to know first before you go into this, the manor is land. So the nobles have land from the king. The king has given that land to the nobles, and the nobles will turn around and break up the land that they have and give it to the people that are on the land. And as a relationship, that they get food from the land, they grow the food, and this land that the noble gives away is called a manor. Now, that's all that is. All right, manor. All right, so there were 2 groups of peasant workers on the manor. 2 different groups that are going to work on the manor. You need to know these 2 different groups. First, you have the freemen. Okay? Now, the freemen are skilled workers who paid rent and could leave the manor whenever they wish. Now, that's going to be their only really big difference between them is the freemen could leave the manor whenever they wanted to. They usually had a skill needed by others on the manor. So they're probably a little bit more skilled than the other type of peasant right here. This is what one of your ed puzzles is about. You'll enjoy learning about the serf. Now, serfs are peasants also, but they're workers and they're bound to the land. Some of them they'll be born on that manor, all right, early in their lives, and they'll stay there like their whole life. They may never move more than just a few miles in their life, moving around. That's a few miles their whole life. All right, so the serfs are bound to the land by contract with the nobles. They had no freedom. They were the nobles' property. They were like, I like to look at them as like trees. They are a part of the land. They are not allowed to leave the land. Here's what's crazy too. If their children, they are born, all right, they have children right there on the manor, they are also bound to the land. They are a part of the land. If that manor is exchanged to different folks that own it, different nobles that own that land, those people become the property of the new owner. They're not slaves. They're not called slaves because sometimes they're treated pretty good. I mean, they may be given extra food and all that stuff, but they are a part of the land. All right, so here we go. Let's keep it going. All right, so feudalism. We're talking about feudalism. All right. In order for feudalism to work, there's a contract basically. It's an unwritten, but you better follow contract in order for this to work. All right, so here we go. Get ready to draw this. Think you're going to, yes. On number 7, draw the feudal contract graphic organizer. And all right, here we go. So the first thing you have your lords. All these different lords. It could be the king. It could be nobles. It could be knights. You could have the ladies, the lords and the ladies. These are all the lords. Okay, check this out. Okay, and then you have vassals. This is the simple contract here. You have the lords and the vassals. So your kings, your nobles, your ladies, your knights, and then you have your vassals. That's your freemen and your serfs and anybody that's below somebody else. So vassals are below here. So could a lord be a vassal? Yes, a lord can be a vassal to whoever's at the top. Who's always at the top? The king. If you want to make this more complete, you'll put the king up here. So king, lords, vassals. So anybody can be a vassal that's below someone else. So it looks like this. We're not done yet. So the lords, all right, this is what they do. They give protection to the vassals. This is how it works. Lords give protection to the vassals. So this could be a knight. This knight could be a lord giving protection to a serf on his manor. Okay? Then the vassals, in return, what are they going to provide? I think you may know. You have protection, and you must have something else. And they will give service to the lord. So, but I like to, what are some of the services? The main service that vassals would provide would be food. Those are on the very, very bottom. So, is there anybody above a knight? Yes. So a knight wouldn't be providing food. If a knight doesn't go and grow food, that's for peasants. It's like serfs and freemen. A vassal would give service to lords. Here we go. Let's say this is a knight. The knight's service would be protection to the lord. The knight protects everybody. All right, here we go. So this is where I'm going to stop right here, and we will make this part 2. And get ready to do that tomorrow or whenever your teacher, Coach Horn, tells you. All right, I'm out. Hope you've enjoyed a little bit about feudalism and the manor.